All right, I went live on TikTok.
Okay, I'm going to join you. I got the song this time because last time Epic Fail didn't even get the song up. Wait. I think your live will pop up in a second. Oh, live. I see it. Okay, let me comment.
There she is. Good morning, y'all. Happy friggin' Sunday. Oh, I gotta get my headphones going, Sarah.
Yes.
So as soon as you're on the live, I should be able to hear you through the headphones.
There we go.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you through the computer. I've got my TikTok turned all the way off, my volume, because if I don't, it's an echo. Aaron is on. Hey, Aaron, can you see if you can hear Corinne? Corinne, talk. And then Scott said he's going to be on soon. And then, okay, so Aaron says he can hear. Aaron, can you do me the biggest favor and click on my Project Next account for just a minute and see if you can hear me on that one? And then you can go back to Corinne's. And then if anybody is on Facebook, can you message hi to see if we're working? I wonder if Scott can do TikTok too. We should ask him, because we didn't think about it. When he gets on, we can just ask him. Corinne. Live paused. So I just need to know if you can hear me on Project Next account. I don't have anybody watching me yet on mine. You have several people. You have, where does it say? You have 7 people. I just need to know if they can hear. And I don't think I can hear you on I can't hear you on TikTok, Corinne. But they said they could. But maybe it's because I have my it's because I have my volume all. Wait, I can't hear you on mine. Oh, here, your microphone's turned off. Unmute. You need to unmute your mic.
Can you hear me now?
Go. There we go. Yeah. Okay.
But now I hear an echo.
I think
I hear me through your speakers.
Not have any TikTok sound for you. Literally turn your headphone volume off or take your headphones off.
But
I would take your headphones out. I would not have any volume for TikTok.
So if I mute my microphone?
Don't mute it. Just turn the volume all the way down and take your headphones out. I would unplug your headphones and then I would turn your volume all the way down. And now, can you still hear Corinne? Okay, Corinne, talk.
Okay, can you also hear me now?
Because last time we did this, Corinne's TikTok was echoey, and I felt so bad for people watching this on TikTok.
Yeah, I think there's a significant echo. So the echo, because I have to use a microphone is the problem.
But you don't have to, because your phone just automatically has sound on it. Just unplug your headphones and just turn your sound off. Trust me, just try it. Unplug your headphones. Don't use a mic. Just use your phone's volume.
But then I can't hear you. If you still come through my computer, I can't hear you.
Did you unplug your...
Okay, try it now.
Your phone? Like, you shouldn't have anything connected to your phone. So unplug the thing that was to your phone.
Okay.
Then turn your volume all the way off on your phone, but not mute. Just turn it all the way down. And then just use the StreamYard volume.
Let me try this.
And then that's going to get rid of the echo, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, let's see if this is any better.
If we just use one platform, then we can't use TikTok. So we're really trying to use TikTok too, you guys. We're trying to do double until I can figure out how to live stream TikTok, which I'm going to get there, but it's going to take a few weeks.
Yeah. Hopefully
Okay.
this is better now.
I think it's working. Can everybody tell us on TikTok if you can hear us? And then is anybody on Facebook watching us?
Okay, so people said the echo is better or it's not there.
Okay. That's it. Just throwing out there, Corinne.
Okay.
I figured that was what we needed to do. So thank you for trusting me.
Oh, hey, Beck's on. Hey, Beck. Good morning.
Okay, so quick shout out. The song we've been listening to is my husband, Chris Blessing, wrote this for me. I think it's so romantic. He's never made a song for me before. I told him I wanted a dance, uplifting, positive song that we can like go like this to while we're welcoming our viewers. And I am so thankful for my sweet husband. Chris, I love you so much. And I love this song, and it's not finished. So every time we do an episode, you're going to hear a little bit more info on it. But thank you, babe. He has a band called 1443. It's 1443, and you can listen to it on most places you get your music for free. So just ask it to play 1443. The album's called Negative Return for anybody that's interested. It doesn't sound like this. It sounds more like maybe Smashing Pumpkins or something. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, babe.
And how funny is it? Like, this is what it took to get your husband to write a song for you.
It took me starting my own media company and saying, babe, I need, yeah, no, isn't that funny? And I almost got somebody else, but then because he got nervous about it. And then I was going to get his friend that makes music. And then he's like, no, I can do it. So he needed a little push because it's sort of nerve wracking to put your music out there so fast. Like he literally started making it like a week and a half ago. Okay, I'll stop the music.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to try muting my microphone on TikTok and just see if they can hear me through the other way because they're saying I still have a really bad echo.
Oh, man. Okay, can you hear Corinne?
Yes, so I muted y'all. Okay, so I muted my TikTok microphone, so y'all should just be hearing with... Okay, good. It's gone. So that's what it takes. So
yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, good job.
It's either one way or the other. Like everything is down here. And I use everything on my phone okay.
And if anybody ever joins on Project Next, I need to know if you can hear me too, because it might be an echo. Nobody's on, so I don't know. And I don't know if anybody's on. Oh, I think a couple people are on Facebook. Yeah, because we got 3 little.
Oh, good. Kenna says she can hear both of us. Thank
I need to go to comments. That's where. Kenna, I love you, girl. Big hug. Laura, love you too.
Laura said things sound good. Oh, good. You guys, we're so relieved. We had a terrible echo last time. So look at us, Sarah.
I felt so bad with the echo. I was like, people stayed on for an hour with the echo. Kathy, love you, girl.
I know. So now when we get our shit together, look at how much better it's going to be.
I know. And what, Corinne, be impressed. Printed out the notes this time.
Hey.
I still don't have YouTube, but I'm working on it. I can't wait for Dr. Tim Peck to get off vacation so he can give me attention and we can keep working on the business of Project Next. So I'm just so excited. Thank you, Corinne. Scott Aaron Rogers is going to join us shortly, and we're going to talk about gender roles. And I want to hear those of you that are on live, Kenna, Laura, Kathy, please participate. And anybody on TikTok, please participate. We can see both of the comments. Hey, Blythe.
Yeah, you can see everybody's comments. Yes, Sarah. So I made sure to wear my...
Here's Scott. I'm getting him on here.
Oh, you can Scott.
Stage.
Good morning.
And he's got video and
perfect.
You look adorable.
I made sure to wear my Madam Vice President shirt today for our conversation on gender roles because that was the first time at the national level, right, that we had a first gentleman. So we have had first ladies in the presidency and the vice presidency. And although we've had first gentlemen at the state level, when Vice President Harris was elected, that was our first gentleman at the national level. So it was an interesting little just piece of gender roles, and probably having a first gentleman was never something anybody thought of.
I know. I loved it so much. Love Doug. Heart to Doug.
Like, okay, this is the perfect shirt for today.
Why Corinne and I talk for a minute. Are you on your computer?
I am.
Can you pull up your phone and join us on TikTok? Can you go to Corinne Straight's live and then just literally put your phone right next to your computer or in front of your, because I have my phone on the computer, and then we can get you on TikTok too.
Oh,
but
okay.
I forgot to ask you about that until I thought of it like 20 minutes ago, and I was like, I'll just ask them
Sure.
live and see if we can get you on, because then TikTok people can see that handsome face.
Yes, that's what, and Blythe just said, I
definitely
cannot see
want
Scott's
to.
beautiful face.
Yes. So we'll
Yes.
see if we can get Scott on here, because we have like a blank window perfect for you. It's just waiting. So get on Corinne's live, type here and send it, and then she'll invite you on. And then you'll have to turn your phone volume all the way off too. So
okay, I just sent you your invitation, Scott.
I think we have 12 people on yours. Hey, it's coming. Now we just need video.
Well,
you're doing
okay. There's that, and
you'll see where you can turn your video.
And I just sent him an invite to turn on his camera.
Oh, good. This is so exciting.
There I am.
It's coming.
There's my face.
Coming. You can see it. I can't see it.
I can see. Well, I can see my face.
You can
on TikTok. I only see who's left. Wait, there it is. Yay!
Hey! Oh, and look, Scott with his green screen. I'm so impressed. But then it's so impressive,
Facebook,
Scott.
You see the real one. See, mine is just like a blue screen. That's
yeah.
Cute. Love it.
You can see my virtual background is over on, I don't know, is that on your Facebook Live there, Sarah?
Facebook Live, yeah. But this is our like behind the scenes.
And then Scott, you can click comments on the right. Oh no, I guess you see it, don't you? You see the comments.
I see it
you
down
see Kenna
there.
And Kathy.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Oh, hi there, Blythe. I see you.
Yeah, isn't this fun? It's like a warm hug with our friends watching.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Okay.
Our little coffee talk.
Good morning.
I watched Corinne's TikTok from a couple days ago about pancakes. And then I was like, we had already scheduled this live. And I was like, hey, Corinne and Scott, can we change the topic to gender roles? Because I freaking loved that pancake TikTok so much. Corinne, can you do a quick summary of the genius pancake TikTok video? And those of you on Facebook, you can see her videos on Instagram. What's your account? Bloogers?
No, just Corinne Straight.
Corinne Straight.
My same name,
you can follow
Corinne Straight on Instagram.
If you don't want to get TikTok, or follow her, Corinne Straight, on TikTok to see this genius video. Tell us about your pancake geniusness, please.
Well, I was thinking, so as a lot of people know, I recently lost my full-time job. So I am in a completely different world right now. And I also want to give a little bit of the background that in my work, what I was doing before in government work, and especially because all of us were in Indiana was not really a state that did a whole lot of the work from home during COVID. And I never worked from home. So I was not a work from home person. So I really don't have that skill set. We were in the office all the time. So the fact that I'm learning to work from home now, when everybody else kind of figured that out a couple years ago, is kind of funny. But my kids had a 2-hour delay the other morning from the snow, and I popped out of bed and I was like, oh, I'll make them some blueberry pancakes. And I started laughing because I'm like, oh, I guess this is what stay-at-home moms do. And this is what everybody in, our lawmakers in Indiana say I'm supposed to be if I'm a mother. Mm-hmm. I should be staying at home. Yep. And then I was like, oh no, but I'm a single mom, one income. I'm not allowed to stay at home. Mm-mm. But wait, could I stay at home if I got government assistance? Because I am a single parent. Nope, can't do that either. That makes me lazy and entitled. Mm-hmm. So it was just kind of this video that I was trying to make of like, look what I'm able to do when I stay at home with my kids is what society tells me I'm supposed to do. But then on the flip side, I don't actually have another income supporting me. So therefore, I am not allowed to be a stay-at-home mom. So this idea that it's just a choice, everybody who chooses to stay at home with their kids is choosing to love their kids more than the people who don't stay at home. And, because all of these as a horrible feminist, going out and pursuing your professional ambitions after you dared to have children, like, oh my gosh. But it's not a choice, right? Some people are forced into making that choice. I know somebody commented on on my TikTok video and said, I was financially forced into the choice of staying at home because childcare was so expensive. I was in the same situation when my oldest son is 17. When he was first born, we could not afford, it was in the recession. He was born in 2007. And we could not afford childcare. So I quit my job and stayed at home. So that was a choice that I made, but it was only because we would have lost more money had I gone back to work. And a lot of people do make that choice. We saw over 1.8 million women left their jobs to come and stay at home during COVID, because that was the choice that they had to make. It was a choice, but their hand was kind of forced. And the gender roles piece plays into that, because all of these women were generally working lower paying jobs than their partners.
Mm-hmm. So
we're the ones that chose to come.
I want to chime in there because that's me. So I am that example of the pandemic. So I taught 5th grade for 18 years, loved it, thought I was going to do it my whole life until I retired. And during the pandemic, I had twins that were 2 and a 10-year-old. And it got too hard. And I never thought it would happen. But because of everything going on, and I didn't want to give my parents COVID by teaching and bring it home to them while they watched my children, I quit, which I never thought I would do. And I was so blessed because my husband had gotten a raise, like a big raise. Like he got like $20,000 bonus that like right before I quit. So we could financially cover it. And that bonus was half my freaking salary, because I've been teaching for 18 years and we don't pay teachers very much. And it was for Catholic school. You get paid less for Catholic schools. So I did the unthinkable
reward is in heaven,
thing,
Sarah. Yes.
And I quit.
The reward is in heaven.
And I was like immediately like, oh my gosh, I'm so blessed. Corinne, I'm going to be that stay-at-home mom making those blueberry pancakes, and I'm going to love my babies, and I'm going to have the best time at home. And then like a month later, I was so depressed, and I was like really hard on myself. I was like, why am I depressed? I'm so lucky. My husband can afford to pay for all of us, and I can take care of my children, but I love teaching. I loved my 5th graders. I put a lot of good into them. And that was just stripped away from me. It was like part of my soul was missing. And I was like, oh crap, I have to do something for my community for me to be a happy person. And I had so much guilt because I was like, we are supposed to be the happy stay-at-home moms. I wanted to be the happy stay-at-home mom. I am still guilty. I still have guilt and shame attached to that. I see moms that don't work, that don't do 1,000 things outside of the home like I do. And I see them happily loving their kids. And I am a little jealous of that because I can't do it. I have to work also. And I'm still dealing with it. I'm still dealing with the guilt of why can't I just be like all these other happy stay-at-home moms who do it? Why can't I be like them? So I'm still working through this.
Well, and like, I think part of this too is like, if we've been paying attention to kind of what is going on in with Trump's incoming administration and the possibility of his defense secretary, who has made very awful misogynist statements that women, period, should not be in combat, right? Should not be in combat. So that is absolutely not who we want leading our friggin' military. But there have been so many women who are serving or have served and are saying, look, all women cannot meet those standards. Yes. But also all men cannot meet those standards.
Right.
It should be about who meets the standards, not whether they're a man or a woman. And when you look at this, like, I wish I could be like these stay-at-home moms. Some of them have that, right? Some people have that in them. Some men have that in them. Some men have the innate ability to be homemakers, to be child caregivers, and that is where they are happy and content, and they've got some hobbies on the side, and they are defying gender roles by making that choice for their family. But some men are really good at that. Yeah. And I think that's a piece of it too, is like, we can look at these women and say, am I broken? Am I supposed to be able to do that? And it's just like, no, it's actually just not in me. It's not in me.
So Scott, I want to hear what it's like for a man. What roles do you feel guilt for that you should be doing that maybe you're not or you are trying? Like, I want to hear this through your perspective.
Yeah, well, let's tell you what you're talking about, like, childcare and the difficulties of just arranging a schedule and how expensive it is. And I managed a restaurant for a long, long time. So when my kids were young, um, I arranged my schedule so I worked nights, like exclusively, so I could be with them during the day. I was stay-at-home dad, halftime basically, doing that, and then working at night and rinse repeat. But I would do the pick up and drop off from school and lunches and all that stuff, and I loved it. I enjoy getting to kind of explore that part of myself and do those maybe uh non-traditionally male things. Like, I love to cook. I love to be in the kitchen. But now it's weird, like, because I'm like a handyman and like contractor. I am in very much a stereotypical male job now. But I have some flexibility, and that's a nice thing about it, is I can drop things and do things. Like last year, before my son got sick, I was his primary caretaker, and I'd drop him off at Ivy Tech. He was going to school, taking classes. I'd go there. I'd go to work. I'd run back. He was disabled, so he would need help. Using the restroom. So at my lunchtime, I'd go out to Ivy Tech. I'd help him do that, and then come back and get him at the end of the day. And I don't know. It's just what you got to do. You do what you got to do. In some of these situations.
You've already stopped a lot of male stereotypical things just in how you lived your life. And I just want to shout out, my husband is our main cook. He is 1,000 times better at it than me. And he also like has a garden and he puts fresh ingredients. If I were doing it, I would make the fastest meal possible. I would put vegetables in there and stuff, but it's going to be 20 minutes for me to cook that thing. And he's making like an hour and a half meal that we'll eat for 2 or 3 days. And it's like the healthiest, most delicious thing you've ever tasted. So, yeah, that stereotype of who should cook, it's like, I think most families figure out which one's the better cook and go with it. But I don't know how much we advertise it.
And how much does Scott, and how much does, like, because I think there are a lot of men and really a lot of women too who are very comfortable defying those gender stereotypes or the gender roles that we grew up with. We just kind of fit into where we fit, and we're doing what works for our family, and maybe we don't realize it until we step outside of that and see the judgment that we're receiving.
Right.
So has there been instances in your life where there is judgment from other men or even men within your family? I always feel like it comes from,
it's a good
like,
question. It's such a good question,
family,
girl.
right?
Yeah.
It comes from like your aunts or uncles. It's like, oh, so like, what are those? Have you had those situations?
Boy, I'll tell you, no. I've been fortunate, I think, to not. It's rare, I think, so sometimes you'll get, oh, that's so refreshing, and it's like, yeah, I mean, no, I'm not trying to be refreshing. It's just like what we got to do. There have been, I don't know, it's been about a 40-year process right now at this point, maybe 50 years, as women have increasingly gone into the workforce and taken on more leadership roles and become breadwinners and yada, yada, yada. There was a whole like girl boss phase, right? And this is awesome. Like, I'm so glad that women are now able to come into the world and do these stereotypically male roles, right? It's almost like women have gotten to be like whole people now. They get to experience the entire gamut. Well, a lot of men, we're still only half people. You know, we could do the male things. There's like, you know, there's been a girl boss decade, but there's not been like a big rush of like stay-at-home dads.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
I hear
it's
you on
kinda
that.
rare.
We've had this girl power thing going on for a while, and we're still not equal. We still have to work. But I feel like right now it's hurting men tremendously because we're like, accept who we are. I can't just be a stay-at-home mom. I'm gonna start a media company. I'm gonna run for state house. And my husband's like, okay, sweetheart, and he loves me and comes along with me when it's hard. But the stay-at-home dad is not like shouting from the rooftops, I'm a stay-at-home dad. I'm taking over the kid duty. We don't, even though I think we would praise that, I honestly, don't you, Corinne? I think we would praise it.
Yeah.
It's not as focal. It's not as shine a light on how amazing it is as it is for the girl boss. So I think for every time we celebrate the woman doing what makes her happy, we should also celebrate the man doing what makes him happy or doing what is best needed for our families. I think we could push that more.
Yeah. Because there's more than one way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Just like, you know, we've found out over the time, there's more than one way to be a woman. You know, you don't have to stay at home and wear an apron and be a trad wife. You can be a CEO. You can be an athlete. You can be, you know, all the things that little girls were told they couldn't be for the longest time. And yeah,
But at the same time, when I was teaching, I was a very stressed out mom. So it's complex. I think I could handle it better now as a 43-year-old than I was handling it. But I think back to that year when I taught full time with twins that were a year old and my 9-year-old. I barely remember that year. And I don't remember being me at home. I remember always looking at the clock. Okay, now we make food. And this is when my husband had to work. He had to drive into Louisville. Now he works from home. It's so much easier. So I had to do a lot more of the cooking. I had to go to the grocery. I had to do a lot more of the things because my husband was gone for a long period of time. So my heart goes out to most of our culture who, if you're either a single parent doing everything like Corinne, or one of you is staying at home and money's tight, or you're both working and you have barely any free time. I feel so privileged because I work when I can, you know, like I'm just so blessed in what I have now, because as much as I miss teaching, I don't want to go back to it. It's too hard with 3 kids. Twins is hard. I don't know if you'll know this, but twins is hard.
Yeah.
You know, so
for real. And like, I think like so much of the stress that comes from deciding whether or not we fit into a gender role or want to, quote, defy a gender role, so much of that stress comes from how our society here in the US is structured. We don't have a choice. For most families, you have to be 2 income. For most, there's no parental leave. I mean, think about how much different your experience could have been, Sarah, if you had 6 months or 12 months home with those babies when they were born, and you did not have to worry about money. You did not have to worry about losing your job. You established your routine. You recovered physically, from giving birth.
Which I almost died from, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you had all of this time, and then maybe you would have been more ready to step back into the classroom as a completely different person. That when we don't ever give that leeway for people to recover and adjust to becoming parents, both men and women, when there is no time for that recovery and we are thrust back into our paying jobs because we're forced to, then all of this tension and resentment sits there in our own minds as parental guilt, and at home because our partner isn't getting the same things out of us they used to get. There's so much of that tension that is a symptom of how we're structured, where we really don't give, no, you know, we are structured to be a stay-at-home mom society.
Like I see for men, like for you, Scott, you guys are driven. You're supposed to make enough money for the woman to be able to stay home, and that is very hard in today's society.
That's not
to do
freaking
that.
possible anymore.
It's almost
absolutely
impossible.
No.
And then I'm so worried about the people that have to work multiple jobs because they can't work one full-time job and it be enough. I was working one full-time job and it was really hard on me. Whereas I order groceries from Walmart and have them delivered. And I ask the workers when they're bringing the groceries and I try to help them if I can. You know, I ask them questions about their job. Never once have they told me that's their only job. It's always a second or third job for them.
Yeah.
And they're like trying to get enough money for Christmas. They're trying to pay their bills. They're trying to pay off their medical bills or their car. And they leave. And my heart is like, oh, I hope they're okay. Oh man, they're working 2-3 jobs. They probably got kids. They probably got bills. Food is so freaking expensive. Rent is hard. And it's like it rips out my heart every time I order groceries, but then I give them a nice tip and I know they're grateful for their work, but oh, we could be doing things better.
We could be. And Scott, it makes me think of that interview that you just did, Scott, just on this topic about gender roles. And if anybody has missed this, go to Who's Left on YouTube. Who's Left with Scott Aaron Rogers. He does some phenomenal interviews and some deep dives on topics. And I wondered if you could share a little bit about that interview and the guests that you had.
The toxic masculinity one, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That was last week. Actually, that interview is about a year old, but I rebooted it in the wake of the election. I spoke with Jared Yates Sexton. He's an Indiana native, and former professor, author. He's got several books, but we were talking about his 2019 memoir. It's called "The Man They Wanted Me to Be," and we talked a lot about how the traditional stereotypical male gender roles harm men. You know, it does, it pigeonholes us. It says we're supposed to be a certain way, and we're only supposed to have certain emotions. You know, we're like anger is the only emotion men are allowed to express. Maybe you're allowed to shed a tear if you watch Field of Dreams or something, but
that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe sports. Maybe
or
sports.
If the Jets lose, or if the Flyers lose, you get to lose your mind. But other than that, nope.
Yeah. Well, so he wrote this lovely memoir about how, that tormented him and, his experiences and his process to kind of to work through the way that toxic masculinity had affected him and in his life. And that book meant a lot to me, especially in 2020. My wife and I were going through a rough patch. I was moved out of the house for a little bit, and there were a lot of folks were reading to kind of process what was going on in summer of 2020, just in the country in general. We had COVID, and then we had all the George Floyd protests, right? And it kind of felt like everything was falling apart around us. And then like me in my life, like my personal life was falling apart around me too. So it's like, I'm reading about relationships and American history and, the history of racism in America. And then also, I'm trying to figure out, where do I fit in? How has the culture left its imprint on me? And just lovely conversation. Yeah. And Corinne, thank you for the plug. That's on YouTube. And also please subscribe to my Substack. That's scottaaronrogers.substack.com. All my other stuff is there too.
Yeah, thanks, Corinne, for shouting out.
Scott,
I want to just say how amazing Scott's podcast is.
Oh, it's so good.
He helped me during the election cycle. I met Scott at the delegates convention in Indy. What month was that?
I want to say that was July.
Why?
It was,
Yeah.
and I had to do my first live speech in front of like 300 or 400 people. I didn't even know I was going to have to do one. And so I did one very quickly because we were starving, about my own struggle, almost dying, delivering children.
Yeah.
And it went really well. And Scott, and then I asked him afterwards when we were starving where to go eat. I just saw a random person coming out and he looked nice. And I asked him, and he told me where he was going to eat. And so then I walked with him with my group of girls, and we all walked to the same restaurant. And he gave me his card, and he's like, I have this podcast called Who's Left? Would you like to be on it? And I'm like, oh, I love talking on podcasts. Yes, I would love to be on this podcast. And so then we set it up for like a month or so later. And Scott, you gave me the best interview I've ever had.
Mm-hmm. It was so good.
You gave me mental health help. Like you said, whenever I had triplets and I lost one and I have twins and I almost died, whenever I was going through how traumatic it was, you said, Sarah, your own doctor couldn't keep you and you had to go to specialist doctors. That's how complicated your pregnancy was. Maybe the government shouldn't be involved. They're not even a doctor, and your regular OBGYN couldn't handle your care. And I had never thought of that before. And when I told my husband that, it was like, it helped us. So you are a phenomenal interviewer. And I think because you have so much empathy for people that you're listening to, like I can tell you care about me, and it's so nice. Like I was so safe with you in that interview.
Yeah.
That's rare. Like I just want to, let's all just shine some love on Scott.
For real. And I'm so glad you said that, the word empathy, Sarah, because
yes,
Scott mentioned toxic masculinity. And I'm raising teenage boys. Sarah's got 2 sons. One of them's a teenager. Can you talk about when you first became familiar with the term toxic masculinity and how you attempted to absorb that? I see in so many instances where that term comes out and men immediately shut down and there's no moving past it. And some of that I think is a lack of empathy because you're not understanding where the person is coming from that is asking you about that toxicity. So can you talk about learning about that term and how you absorbed it and maybe were or were not defensive?
Yeah, well, no, I'll tell you, it's a process. Because I think I've been aware of the term for a while, and certainly, look, I grew up in a house with all women for the most part. My mom was around, and my grandma was primarily like the second parental figure for much of the time, and then I've got 3 sisters. So I don't know if it was just like, okay, maybe having that female influence all around me my whole life kind of wore off on me, or what, but even with that, once you become aware of toxic masculinity, I think there's this kind of tendency to say, oh, okay, yeah, oh, I get it. Like I'm not that. Like I reject. Like I'm not an abuser, or I'm not going around like sexually harassing every woman I meet, or it's typical gross guy thing. I'm not catcalling. I'm not, I'm not afraid to cry, right? But you see that, right? You say, well, okay, I'm not that. I reject that. And then maybe you get attitude where you're like, yeah, I'm one of the good ones.
Right.
And you're only kind of halfway there, and I think this is something I sort of figured out when I was talking to Jared. I think that's the root of incel culture. Do you guys know what incel culture is?
Yeah.
The involuntary celibate, it's called. A lot of the young men, especially in the manosphere, guys that can't get a date, okay? And they blame women, they blame the culture for them not getting what they think is entitled to them, right? So I think a lot of those guys sort of get halfway there. They reject the outward, over-the-top, aggressive, macho, toxic masculinity and think, okay, I'm one of the good ones. Why am I not meeting women? Why can't I talk to women still? And and there's still so much work to do
Mhm.
at that point. And I think that's part of the problem. Like they think they've overcome toxic masculinity when when in reality it's all around us all the time. And you
And like,
can't escape it. You can only be aware of it and try to slow down, process it, and you know, deal with it in the moment. And it's hard. It's very hard.
and like the when you were talking about, I keep thinking about I talk a lot in some of my content about like how low the bar is sometimes, right? Like
Yeah.
we just want our lawmakers to come out. Like here in Indiana, we had those KKK flyers that were distributed around our cities in the weeks during Thanksgiving. And it was just like, I just want the lawmakers to come out and say that's bad. Like, can you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
say
Just the
something?
bare minimum.
Like
Yeah.
the bar is so friggin' low sometimes of what we want. And so when it comes to toxic masculinity, to say, well, I don't beat anybody, I don't assault anybody, so therefore I nailed it, right? Well, that's like the bar's pretty low then, because also what comes with toxic masculinity is understanding that you're not entitled to anything.
Yep.
Even
Yep.
if you're not one of the bad ones, if you still believe that I should be getting X, Y, or Z because I'm a man, then you're, like you said, Scott, you're only halfway there, because the entitlement is the other part of it, or what I deserve from society.
So we've got some men on TikTok responding, and I just want to say I'm so thankful you all are on here. Jeff said the name is so negative, toxic masculinity, that it immediately throws men off, and I agree
Yep.
with you. I
Mhm.
also want to say something that I am constantly working with is my husband he's like the most amazing man. I love him so much, but he has a short temper. And it's not like he's hitting and throwing things, he's just getting upset quickly, easily. And it takes him a long time to process, why is he mad? There's another emotion there that caused the
Yes.
anger, but
Yep.
the temper comes first. And I have realized, because we've been together 10 years, we've been married 8, I always like to think it's a him problem. It's just him. And I've had a lot of therapy lately, and I've had a lot of more empathy towards myself lately. And it's helped me to see it is not just a Chris problem, it is a Sarah problem too. I love my husband. He is not going to hurt me. When he loses his temper, and he is also an incredible man, and I understand and I can be calm, I can help him. And sometimes I don't want to do it because it's a lot of work. And if you're married and you're working to be the healthiest versions of yourselves, it is also just as much my responsibility to help my wonderful husband deal with this emotion he hasn't figured out. My husband is a genius. He wrote the song we listened to. He is an IT genius. That's why he can make so much money for us. But he struggles with emotions, and that doesn't make him a toxic masculine male. He is a wonderful male. And it is my part of my job. It's not only my job. He's had a great mom, and she's helped a lot. And, he doesn't have a sister like you, Scott. So I think that probably didn't help. He just has
Mm-hmm.
an older brother. But part of my job is to compassionately not lose my temper, love him, and help show him where that emotion is coming from. And then the two of us deal with it together. And I don't think society is there yet. I'm not saying when my husband loses his temper, it's my fault. That's on him. But I'm saying that's his weakness, and that's my strength. So I realize now, literally in the last month, mind blown, I can do a better job of helping my husband. And so just realizing it's 50-50, it's not all his fault. He has grown up with this, and it's also him.
Yep.
His personality makes him mad. I don't think it's all completely cultural. I think it is some,
Yeah.
but it's also his personality. He struggles with emotions. My 6-year-old struggles with emotions. And it's not that I'm not raising him to be a conscious male, you know? So I'm just seeing things differently lately.
Yeah. Well, there's only so much you can do in the home. I mean, he's 6 now, he's in school, so you're not the only one socializing your son, right?
Right.
Even now in the culture, boys get different messages than girls. You know, for the most part, girls are taught from a very young age how to recognize their emotions and talk about their emotions. Boys are not. In fact, we're told not to have any emotions at all. Boys don't cry. Boys are stoic. You suck it up. You tough it out. You rub some dirt on it, and you get back in there, right? And you know what? Sometimes that's not what you need. Sometimes you need to pull back. Sometimes you need to talk it out. Sometimes you need to cry. And because we don't know what to do with all of our emotions, they seemingly all come out as anger.
And Scott, I want to jump in real quick here because Jeff is the one in our TikTok thread who said toxic masculinity is just a negative term in itself. Okay, fine. Yeah. That's how he feels. And then he went on to say, well, this conversation comes off really negative towards men. And I wondered if you could respond to, so I don't know if that is because women are talking, if he was just listening to Sarah and I talk about it. But as a man, Scott, when you see a comment like that, it shows me that maybe Jeff hasn't seen our full conversation, and maybe he can go check it out on Facebook on our Project Next page to go see the full conversation. But Scott, when you see a comment like that, well, this is just negative towards men, how do you respond?
Well, I think that number one, that assumes that that is the way that men are. And it assumes that there is only one way to be a man. And those are, you know, anger is not a biological feature of maleness. Emotions are human, right? We all have them. People have them. And yeah, a lot of times anger comes out when another emotion is at the root, right? And like that root emotion, that is a human emotion. We all have it. And you know, Jeff is right in a way about the terminology. Toxic masculinity is maybe not the greatest. It's an academic term. I don't know if you want to use hyper masculinity, if you want to use like over the top masculinity, or like
traditional masculinity, or
traditional masculinity. I like that better.
Maybe expected masculinity.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It comes off bad. You're automatically offending people with the name.
Yeah, and it is an academic term. Like, we didn't pick it, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's we're working with what's been given to us. But the point is, there's more than one way to be a man, just like there's more than one way to be a woman. Mm-hmm. You know, it's accepted now, generally in society, except for, like, you know, JD Vance and his guys, that women can be all the things, but men, I think, feel like still have to be the breadwinner. We have to be strong. We have to be stoic. We're not supposed to cry. We're not supposed to be a certain way. And all that toxic masculinity is, it says that there's only one way to be a man, and it's doubling down on all of the traditional stuff.
I'm so worried about men. I'm so worried about men. Men are 4 times more likely to die by suicide.
Yeah.
And then the way they die is very violent. It's like usually they get a gun and they're very successful with it. Whereas women, sometimes their first attempt doesn't work. And so then they get help. But women are much more capable of expressing their vulnerability. Like, I had a suicide scare in the spring and I immediately told people. I told freaking everybody. And then I got all this warm love to help me while I was very fragile. I don't know many men that come out like I did and say, I had suicidal thoughts, help me, love me, because that's what I did.
And like, Sarah, like, the way that it's hurting men. So we see not only in the rate of suicide, we see it in the rate of negative health outcomes.
Yes.
Because not only is it men are not supposed to handle their mental or emotional health, they can also ignore the physical things that are going on with them because they're just supposed to tough it out.
Right. They're
I got it.
supposed to
I'm
tough
fine.
it out. That's
Yep.
so true. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
hurting if as men start to see, and I think we do this a lot in some of our policy conversations here, especially in a place like Indiana or in a more conservative state. I'm not going to fight with you about ideology, but I am going to show you how this thing is actually that you think is good is actually still hurting you. I'm going to show you how this, if you think traditional gender roles are a good thing, I actually have a whole lot of evidence that's going to show you it's hurting men too.
Yes.
And so if we can inject that into the conversation, maybe we remove some of maybe what feels like a personal attack when we say toxic.
I agree with
There's
that.
a great book on this by Liz Plank. She's the author. It's called For the Love of Men.
Yes.
And the entire point of the book is that toxic masculinity is killing us. It is not good for us to be that way. We neglect our health, like Corinne was saying. Like, oh, I got it. I'm fine. Like, we don't go to the doctor.
Right.
We don't go to the therapist. Like, when was the last time, like, a dude made a doctor's appointment without his wife telling him to? You know, we drink more. We use drugs more. We're more, you know, when we do attempt suicide, we use a firearm, so we're more successful. We have shorter lifespans, even if you take those things out. Men just are, you know, don't take as good a care of themselves as we could.
I agree with you on that. With my own husband, I feel like sometimes he doesn't care about himself enough. He always puts his kids first, always. And I have to remind him, you got to put yourself first so that you can take care of your kids. And he does a pretty good job of working on it, but I don't think he's 100% there, because I worry, like, he does go to the doctor, thankfully, because he wants to stay alive as long as possible for our children. That man will do anything for his 3 kids. It's incredible, but at the same time, I worry about him. So I think a lot of men are putting other people ahead of them. And then I think women are doing it too. I've got all kinds of stay-at-home moms or hardworking moms in the community where I live. And I just see them stressed out every second of the day because they're always putting their kids, their husband, everything first. And I think that's really not a gender issue. I think everybody is doing that. Everybody is putting everybody else in front of ourselves. But the truth is, once you take care of you, you have more empathy and you have a greater amount of ability to care for those you love because you're in a healthy place. And it has taken me 43 years to get there, to realize that.
What do they tell you on the airplane, right?
Do yourself
put on your
first.
own oxygen mask before you help others. And if you want to put it in like traditionally masculine terms for guys to understand, like, if you are the machine that is there to like provide for your family and take care of them, you got to maintenance that machine. You know, you got to take care of it. You got to keep it clean. You got to, you know, grease the moving parts, all that. So you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to deal with the inner workings of the machine. You know, if you're
That's so good, Scott. I love that metaphor because you think about how many men are going to sacrifice like time with their kids or time with their partner or sleep or getting a little exercise in because they got to go oil the chain on the chainsaw, right? Like, that's the most important thing. I got to go maintain this piece of machinery and I don't need to do any of this other stuff. So I really like that machine metaphor because there's a real keen understanding to all of the maintenance that goes with a car or a home or a piece of lawn equipment. And it's like, hey, dude, actually, you're really good at maintenance. Great job. All we got to do is get you to do a little of that maintenance to yourself.
Yeah. Imagine your body's your car. What does your car need? And let's give some more let's do some self-maintenance on that thing. Is a great way to look at it.
You got to go to the therapist to get an oil change every now and then.
Yes. Yeah. We got to get that. The tears are the oil. We got to get the tears out because that's the old oil, right? And then we got to swap in the filter, which is how we handle those emotions.
It sounds like you might have a gasket leak there, Corinne. You might want to take that into and get that.
I'm going to go get that looked at. We're going to cry about it in a minute, but we're going to be good.
So, like,
I do want to say the TikTok. I do want to thank Jeff for being
me too.
here.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. No, thank you, bro.
And Aaron going back and forth
Aaron,
and talking.
thank you, Aaron.
Jeff brings up a really good point too and we talked about this in the beginning of the conversation, some of the fear of judgment that comes as being, whether it's a woman choosing to leave home and go work or stay at home, there's judgment that's going to come with it. For a man, there is judgment that's going to come if they cry or show emotions. Think about how many times I've heard a man called the P word because they cried or because they showed perceived weakness in some way. So that judgment, I think that judgment creates fear. And because we're afraid of that judgment, we're not willing to express it. So
I want to talk about that. Corinne, you're so amazing at coming up with these points. I think the judgment that counts the most is your own judgment. So I've had the most intense year of my life with the suicide thing and the running for state house and a bunch of other stuff happening. And I never would have cared about myself as much as I do now if I wouldn't have had the suicidal thoughts. I would have just kept putting myself in situations where people treat me like crap. And now I'm so much kinder to myself. I will never try to help an organization that treats me like crap, like they did that led me to the suicidal thoughts. I will never do that today. But I used to allow people to treat me like crap. I also thought my husband wanted me to act a certain way. My mom wanted me to act a certain way. My mother-in-law wanted me to act a certain way. They all want me to be the happy stay-at-home mom. I was projecting that myself. Once I had the suicidal thoughts, once I was at my absolute lowest and I truthfully told them I need more in my life and I want to do something else, I very quickly realized they love me and they want me to be happy, but they don't know what I want to do to make me happy because I haven't told them. I was keeping it in. Once I told them, they were supportive. And I also did get judgment from people. And I was like, oh, ping, you don't need to be my friend. Like, I'll just be nice acquaintances with you. You don't get to be my close friend. I did that.
And then you meet me.
And then I met you. I met Scott. I met Tim. I met all these people that make me so happy. So if my recommendation, because I always want to help people, those of you that are listening, love yourself. Communicate what will bring you joy. What do you need in your life? Because life is hard and life is short. Tell that to the people that love you and watch them give a crap about you. Maybe you need to explain it over and over again because me running for state house was not something my husband wanted me to do, but he was very supportive.
Yep.
But it took a little bit. So I had to keep communicating because he was like, are you sure you want to do this? Aren't you just doing this because nobody's running? Like once he got it, he's so supportive.
Yeah.
And I am so humbled by that. I did not give my husband, my mother-in-law, my mom, I didn't give them enough credit. And now I give them more credit. They love me. They want me to be happy, And
Scott, we've got just a couple of minutes left. You've mentioned two really great books. I wonder if you could plug them again. Was it Jared, your guest that you talked to?
Yeah, that's correct. That's Jared. Jared Yates Sexton, Hoosier, originally from Linton. His 2019 memoir is called "The Man They Wanted Me to Be," and you can get that on Amazon or Audible or wherever you get your books. It's available in paperback now too. And the other one was "For the Love of Men" by Liz Plank. Both of these are great authors. They both talk about more than, just masculinity and gender issues. They both are on Substack as well. Another one was, the one, there's a book on masculinity by Bell Hooks, and it's escaping my name right now. But
if you don't have time to read a whole book, like I don't read a lot of self-help books.
Yeah.
They're too long. I listen to podcasts. I cannot recommend Scott's podcast with the author that just came out. So it's free wherever you get podcasts. You can watch it on YouTube. It's Who's Left. He's got it on his platform. You can see it. So it's Who's Left with an H. And just listen to his latest episode on toxic masculinity because I learned a ton since I am not a man listening to two men be so vulnerable and open about it really helped me. And I just want to thank you, Scott, for going to that place and helping me, a woman, understand your emotional
Absolutely.
needs better. You know,
I'm going to go
Thank you.
my partner is a male. I am raising two young boys. I feel really lucky for all of the men that I've had in my life that champion me and support me. My dad, my brother, my brother-in-law, in addition to my partner and my sons. But I want to be better too. I've done a whole lot of gender work and gender studies, and a lot of that has been focused on the woman's experience, and that has helped me a lot. But I also want to be a responsible consumer of this media and a responsible parent and a responsible model for the men in my life. So I'm going to go read Jared's book, because if that book is just like an expansion of what your interview was with him, Scott, that I'm really excited to dive into it, because he was fascinating to listen to.
he really was.
Oh yeah, and ladies, I've got a book for you. It's called Boy Mom by Ruth Whitman. Yeah, that one is all about raising young men, and boy, I'll tell you, with the Joe Rogans and the Andrew Tates and all those guys in the manosphere, they call it, they are beaming messages directly into your son's brains all the time.
All the time.
Right.
And
you talk about that, Corinne. You're
be
so right.
available
Yeah.
I've told that, and Sarah and I, we need to do an episode on that in the future, because Sarah and I have talked about this, of like my sons and I sitting down with each of our phones and doing the same Google search, and how my son's phone knows he's a white dude, and the information that he's going to get versus what I get, his TikTok feed versus my TikTok feed, just being able to sit and say, this is what they're feeding you. Because they've got a hold of our boys. That is a vital demographic for that end of the political sphere to maintain power. And they've done a really good job of getting in our kids' heads from the very first time they have a phone. It's pretty remarkable, some of the content that they are receiving. So I look forward to checking out that book too, and getting a little more into that topic in the future.
And I'm sorry, Sarah.
No, I just wanted to thank you two so much. It's hard to find people that want to go live and talk vulnerably about their own lives and their own faults and how we can make things better. And you two are some of the greatest blessings I've had this year. So I think you all see that. I try to tell you all a lot. I think you get it. But I just want you to know my life has been intense. I'm having surgery for probable thyroid cancer on Thursday. My life is at very big highs and very big lows right now. And I'm just so thankful for all of the viewers. If you messaged and said hi, if you vulnerably took yourself to a place like these amazing men on TikTok that told us how they're feeling, like, wow, my heart goes out to you all. How brave of you. And when you are struggling in your life, because life is very hard, just remember this community we have at Project Next. We want to continue this. This is the whole point of the media network, to give free conversation. Let's connect people we've never met before. I've never met Jeff. I really like him. I never met Aaron. I really like him. I wish I could meet him in person. The fact that they are willing to share their thoughts with us is so brave. And I just want to say thank you, Scott. Thank you, Corinne. Thank you, viewers. Please share this content. Please tell anybody that could benefit. If you are listening to this and being like, boy, I wish so-and-so could hear this, they can. It's free. Project or Sarah Blessing Project Next Facebook account is public. This is where it's live streaming, but I'll be putting it on the Project Next Facebook too. And I'll be trying to get it on YouTube if I can figure it out. And then I think, Scott, you might help me with that. I need help with tech because I'm trying to get it on more platforms.
I got you.
We're just baby birds. We need to learn how to fly.
I'm a baby bird figuring this out, trying not to stress out. Yeah. So anyway, thank you. Please share. We have a goal of trying to get 100,000 viewers in a year. Corinne, do you know our episode from Tuesday so far is at 1,500 views?
All right.
So,
okay.
It's not nothing.
Nope.
So thank you to all the people that watched the Tuesday episode about my cancer scare and your firing. And thank you to everybody that watched this. Thank you, Scott. Please share. You can just click share. You can also go to these pages and click the 3 dots at the top and invite your friends to them. That helps a lot. But we want to keep making lots of shows, and we want to know what you want, and we want to talk to you all. So thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Scott and Sarah. And Sarah, I'm not great at math, but I just had a thought real quick. If we do 2 of these a week, there's 52 weeks in a year, and we're at 1,000 views each time. Doesn't that get us to 100,000?
Well, I think what Tim wants is literally one show on all the platforms gets 100,000 viewers.
100,000 unique viewers.
Yeah, unique
in a
viewers.
year.
Yeah.
Like by the end of the year, the content that we're pumping out, one episode gets us way more people watching.
Okay.
So
you got this.
I think we can do it because we are not talking about Tim Peck. You all that know Dr. Tim Peck, he's got some financial info and he's got the drive and he's got the skill. So thank you, Tim Peck, for doing Project Next with me. So I'm really excited and thankful for him that he's willing to do this with me. Thank you, Corinne. Thank you, Scott. What's the chaplain?
Aaron just said that we need more cowbell. So that's how we're going to get to more viewers. So
hey, I'm going to play the song on the way out because I know how to do that.
I just wanted to give more cowbell. So
Scott, I interrupted you. Did you want to say anything else?
Well, I was just going to say that we were talking about Young Men and the Manosphere, and I wanted to plug tomorrow's show on Who's Left. I'm talking to a 21-year-old student at Butler about his experience and what kind of media his generation is consuming.
Oh, we so need to hear that. A 21-year-old. Yeah, we need to hear that.
That's coming out tomorrow, Scott.
That is on scottaaronrogers.substack.com, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.
I get mine on Apple, and I'm listening to it as soon as it comes out.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Scott.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm going to turn on the music that my husband made us. And then if anybody wants to say anything else, you guys can get off, and I'm going to stay on for just a couple minutes in case anybody wants to talk to me, and I'm going to answer it. TikTok, I guess we can probably go ahead and get rid of since that's your account. And love you all. Big heart. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, wait, Corinne. And you are doing a show Wednesday at 7:30.
We are.
Right?
Wednesday at 7:30.
Wednesday at 7:30 p.m.
Surgery Eve. Happy Surgery Eve. We're gonna join Sarah the night before her surgery and kind of talk about it because that's some scary crap. But we're going to talk about it, and we're going to shine some light on it.
That was your idea, and it meant a lot to me that you asked because
of course.
Dealing with a scary surgery, which it is a scary surgery, I got some thoughts, and I'm really grateful too. Yeah. So yeah. So I'll see you all Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. or you can catch it after the live. You can watch it later. Just put your headphones in and do your chores. You don't have to look at our faces. You can just listen to us. You know, just listen to us. You're busy. We know you're busy,
but you should. They're both gorgeous. I love you both.
Thanks. Love
and
you,
Thank
I will catch you Wednesday one way or the other. Hey, everybody, like and subscribe and share their stuff, please.
Thank you. Bye, you guys.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions while we're still on? I've got, I think, maybe 2 people on, but I just wanted to talk for just a minute and see. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. Thank you, husband, Chris, for making this music. I love it, babe. I wanted to see what you all are doing in your community this week. Is anybody doing anything? Like yesterday, I went to Harrison County Arts holiday party. I think they called it an open house. And I'm still riding on the high of that, how wonderful it was. I know a lot of those people now. They're not like my best friends, but they care about me. And they all had kind of heard that I'm going through the thyroid cancer scary stuff. And so many of them asked me about it and like asked if they could do anything to help me. And I'm like, Man, I love this community. I love Harrison County, Indiana. Yeah, the government is rough, but the people are incredible. And then today, I'm going to my kindergartner's birthday party from a friend that I've never met before. We just got invited. So I'm going to go get to meet some more parents of this sweet kindergarten class that my twins are a part of. And I'm so excited about that. Like, I'm just going to get to meet more wonderful people raising their kids. Laura, you're working at the fire department in their parade in Clarksville. Well, that is beautiful. Jennifer, David, shout out if you're still listening. Love you, girl. She said, life is hard. Surround yourself with people who support you. I'm doing that a lot while I'm dealing with this cancer scare. So if you are down, if you are sad, I cannot recommend enough to surround yourself with people that are caring people. They're not perfect, but they care about you. And if those people don't care about you, be thankful you found that out and go to the next one. I just met new friends, Corinne, Scott, and Tim. These are all people I didn't know a year ago. And my life is infinitely better that they're in my lives now. So get out there in your community and tell us about it. Tell us on the Wednesday night show. What did you do this week? Did you get out there and meet some people? Don't stay in your house and think everybody's scary. That's not true. Okay. Love you all. Thanks, Laura, for saying that, because I would have been sad if I asked, what are you all doing in the community? Nobody answered. So thank you, girl. And if you're watching this not live, feel free to comment. I will see the comments later on, and I will respond to you when I have time. So feel free to chime in when it's not live on all of this stuff. Love to hear what you all think. That helps me. Okay. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday and whatever day it is you're listening to this, and please share. Bye, guys.